Let me give you a quick overview what you'll learn from this course. We will build a small application using MVC.NET Core 3.0. I will combine a theory and explanation with practical coding examples. Every line of code will be explained, so you will always know what is going on. We will go over many features of ASP.NET Core. We'll work heavily with TagHelpers, we will do ViewComponents, we will of course use dependency injection, you cannot avoid that with .NET Core. We will work with the MVC pattern, so we'll use models, views, but also partial views and view models and of course controllers. We will implement a repository pattern, we will work with .NET Core services, with sessions, with identity, and of course with entity framework and all other stuff that is needed in order for us to create this application. Now, because we use .NET Core 3.0, you will need to have Visual Studio 2019 installed. Previous versions of Visual Studio do not have .NET Core 3.0 version available. We will first use hard-coded values as our data for the application, but later switch to Entity Framework Core. We will implement basic validation, authentication, and sessions, and as I mentioned, also MVC pattern with repository approach. So we will use interfaces to add the dependency injection into our application. Now, since the goal of .NET Core 3.0 is to remain lightweight framework, everything you want to add to the application has to be added manually. So we will spend some time in configuration section of the application to set up everything from dependency injection to enabling MVC pattern to binding interfaces with repositories. Now, I said I will explain every line of code, and I will. However, I won't be explaining C# syntax. This is a .NET Core 3.0 course for beginners, however, it is not a C# course for beginners. I expect you to be somewhat proficient in C#. Nothing dramatic, but you should have a decent understanding of interfaces and object-oriented programming and be generally proficient with C# language. Also, we'll be using basic HTML and CSS, so you should be familiar with basic HTML tags. And CSS will be implemented via Bootstrap, so not much you need to know there. It's all online in the documentation if you need any help with that. What you don't need is any previous knowledge of ASP or MVC pattern. This will be explained and shown to you in this course, so if you never used previous version of ASP.NET Core, then that's perfectly fine. Alright, so now let's have a look at the finished application.